Hi, I'm Jim Gordon.
And I'm Lita Leapin.
And welcome to another edition of Our City Tonight.
Well, we're here at Hubcast Studios where we start all of our shows, and we're looking forward to a great episode of
That's right. Let's get right to Our City Tonight. Well, we're back again with the wine. We haven't done this in a little while, Lita. We are at Italian Kitchen, one of the many global restaurants in the downtown Vancouver area. Joining us now is Megan Brush. She is the fine wine specialist, I should say, for Western Canada at Galleon Wines, and we are here at Italian Kitchen, and we're going to talk wines.
Well, I'm really excited because I just got back from Italy, the southern part, and we're talking about wines here from the northern part of Italy. In fact, Fontafredda, the winery, is in the Piemonte region. Tell folks where that is on the boot.
Right. Italy is quite massive, but this wine and the wines that we're going to talk about are in the northwestern part. It actually borders France and Switzerland. So if you know kind of where those are, then you can just see it's right tucked in from there. Just in from the ocean as well.
Yeah, beautiful, and I know they make beautiful wines. What are some of the specialty grapes Fontafredda actually specializes in that area?
Well, some of the most age-worthy that you can put in the cellar and lay down forever would have to be like the King Barolo, which is actually the Nebbiolo grape. Oftentimes people think Barolo is the grape, but actually Nebbiolo is the grape. So that's something to really, understand with Italian wines. It's not as cut and dry. So
well, what do we've got three wines we're going to try here at Italian Kitchen. Tell our viewers and Lita and I, and we never sample ever before we go on camera, so we're excited. What are we going to sample first here?
Okay, so this is from Fontafredda. This is the Bricotondo Barbera from Piemonte. Barbera is a nice, easy drinking wine. If you're used to Chiantis, but maybe say you have had Chianti too many times and you're looking to explore and have a little adventure, this would be your next best bet, is the Barbera. And it's also really well priced mostly, so you don't have to go too far out of your realm. Cheers.
Oh. I've already drank it, sorry.
That's very delicious.
And can you tell us, as we always like to ask, what would this go well with food-wise?
So for this, I would take this at the beginning of a meal if I was... Okay. So I would have...
Take this, sort of like medicine.
Yes, I would take this. This is my medicine. I would take with a charcuterie platter with some nice cured meats, a bison dish or something like an interesting meat, even something like veal if you're into that. So a nice light starter pairs well with, for sure.
Perfect. Well, we are back with a couple more wines with Megan. Thanks so much. Looking forward to trying some more.
All right, thank you.
While Jim's holding down the fort in Vancouver, I am here in Toronto. Really quick trip, and I'm at the Scotia Theatre, courtesy of Warner Brothers Canada, for the premiere blue carpet of Aquaman. Very exciting movie. And if those of you that like comic books, well, those of you like fantasy and action, it is an amazing movie. So we're just getting ready to meet some of those people that made this film come to life.
But what could be greater than a king?
A hero. When you were studying drama at Yale, did you ever imagine you were going to be in a fantasy comic book, being a superhero villain?
I think somewhere way down the line. Definitely not as soon as we've done it over here. I thought I'd probably be on Broadway doing a play or something like that. But I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, we loved you. I saw the movie this afternoon.
Right.
Absolutely loved it. You were
Thank
great.
you.
You were hard to hate, though, because I know a bit of the background.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
you had
yeah.
some reasons to hate, but
Yeah.
tell us. You're 6'3", Jason's 6'4", some of the sparring. Tell us your favorite sparring moment.
Oh man, I think it was maybe just day one inside of the submarine. We work really hard for those fight scenes, and then you just go in there, you kind of let loose and have fun, and make something that you just know is going to be really awesome by the time it makes it to the screen.
You do a lot of different types of movies. How do you choose?
You know, I'm usually driven by the story. So if it's a story that I want to tell, then you jump on board. But you're also driven by the filmmaker. So the opportunity to work with James Wan, I would make pretty much any movie you could possibly imagine with James. So, you know, that is really the process.
This is not your first comic book movie.
No,
You've
my
done-
other one I shot in Vancouver.
Yes, The Watchmen, absolutely. And so we're excited I actually saw the movie this morning.
Oh, cool.
And it was absolutely incredible. Did you do all the stunts yourself? Did you have to prepare, train?
Oh no, I mean we all did all the stunts. Meaning, we all did. The stunts did. Great stunt team. I mean, it was all hands on deck. I mean, Jason had 2 doubles, I had 1 double, and we were all there. At any point, you'd see somebody sort of in your costume, you know, doing some crazy wire gag. You know, the thing is, the stunts that are in this movie, I think you'd be hard pressed to find any movie that's used the amount of wire work that we have, because we're shooting so much of it underwater. So, learning all these different gags, as we call them, all these different stunts. I mean, we did everything that we could, everything that we had time for, and even still, stunt guys were busy just as long as we were.
Well, you're looking like fluidly floating there all the time. So
Yeah.
how did that happen?
I mean, you just had to get used to it. There's a lot of different types of harnesses and wires and core strength, I guess.
Did any of their musical theater background help you?
You know, you laugh, but it did. I mean, me and Dolphin, but really me and Willem, because we had a lot of stuff together. We felt like we were just doing some strange avant-garde theater. Because when would you ever do that in life? Like literally have to act while you act like you're swimming and floating in the air. I mean, it's totally bizarre.
Well, you were a wonderful
you so
villain,
much.
but you know what? It's hard to hate you because you're an eco-warrior.
There you go.
You had reason to.
I won one.
You did.
All right, good.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
This episode of Our City Tonight has been sponsored in part by Gyrostone Limited, home exteriors that last a lifetime. Joining us once again is Megan Brush, and I love that she's the fine wine expert for Galleon Wines, and I should say the
Western Canada.
Canada part.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to say. Thanks very much. Okay, we're here at Italian Kitchen, one of the many global restaurants you'll find in downtown Vancouver, and we're continuing with our study of wines.
And
What's
we're
next?
exploring Fontana Fredda, which is a great winery out of the Piemonte region.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of history in this particular winery.
Absolutely. So back in the late 1800s, the King of Italy actually was the one to purchase the vineyards, purchase the winery, purchase the estate for,
Say it. That's okay.
for his mistress. Yes.
This is a family show, you
I know, right?
This wine tastes very evil, I'm sure.
He called it his country home, but that's where she was staying. And actually, if you look at the winery itself, the whole the facade and everything is in a beautiful striped lines, and that's so everybody in Italy who went there knew it was the king's property.
Right.
So very modest man, I'm sure.
Well, then it's very appropriate that we're drinking a Barolo at this moment, which is the king of wines.
It is the king of wines, definitely of Italy. This one, it has a really pale garnet color, but don't be put off by that. It does pack a punch in terms of acidity and tannin. Think dried roses, vanilla, underbrush, and it can age for a very long time.
A minimum of 3 years, but up to how long?
If it's stored properly, you could go 10 years easy. Yeah.
Now,
So-
what would his mistress and the rest of us here at Italian Kitchen enjoy with this wine?
Perfect. So obviously the king would probably take a big meaty dish. He would have, the typical steaks, or maybe a nice piece of red meat, lamb, beef, whatever you want.
And pasta, yeah?
A pasta dish would be perfect. Something even as simple as spaghetti and meatballs, if the meatballs are done properly.
Well, cheers.
Cheers.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
Yay.
Okay, we have one more wine to try. Megan, what are we going to sample?
So this is the Fontana Fredda Gavi di Gavi, and Gavi is actually not the grape. The grape is Cortese. Like in Italy, it's not one or the other. So the Cortese grape is a dry grape. It can be done really lime and citrusy, or it can be done with flowers, a little bit of vanilla. This one is more flowers and a little bit of bitter apple. So you can drink it on its own, or you can have it with a beautiful starter. I like it year-round personally. It's not just a summer wine.
Well, you mentioned a starter. Sorry, Lita, I was just going to say before we get into history, you mentioned starters. What do we have here that Italian Kitchen serves that would go perfect with this wine?
Oh, this is the Humboldt squid with the puttanesca sauce. It's so light, so fresh, and it pairs beautifully with this elegant wine. So.
Wonderful, wonderful. No, so share a little history again with the winery, Fontana Fredda.
Yep.
What other kind of grapes do they grow? You were mentioning Cortese.
Cortese, yep. Then they have the Barbera, and then they have the Nebbiolo. The Nebbiolo is like the big brother. The Barbera is like the little brother. They have Moscato, which is a very popular international grape. And then they also have Dolcetto, which is a nice, sweet little black-red grape that usually is used in blending with red wines.
Excellent. So let's try this Gavi. Definitely the fruit in there. That is delicious. I can totally see how that would go with the squid. I'm a big
All
squid
resisting the urge to dive into this food.
It's so refreshing.
No, that's delightful. Okay, now we should ask you, for people out there that maybe want some more information, obviously you can find the wine everywhere. Where can they find it?
Yeah, so Italian Kitchen, there's many locations actually. And then if you're shopping for it to take home, you can buy them at the BC liquor stores. And then the Gavi you could probably buy at like Legacy, which is a specialty liquor store here in Vancouver.
And what about website information? And viewers can contact you directly through Instagram.
That's cool. I love taking questions and answering questions. You can find me at Megan_Brush on Instagram, Megan with an H. And you can find me on Galleon Wines, so that's galleonwines.ca through there as well.
Wonderful. Well, thanks for sharing your great knowledge with us. We love getting introduced to new wines for sure.
Yes, it's been a good one. And thanks to the folks at Italian Kitchen for helping us out. And again, thanks to Megan Brush, the fine wine specialist. We're never going to let that go. That is such a great title. Galleon Wine. And cheers. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Cheers. Cheers. This segment has been brought to you by Galleon Fine Wines. Explore the world one glass at a time.
I'm good with that. Well, we're here at Vancouver Community College, right in the middle of downtown Vancouver, for a very special, and I will say, our City Tonight exclusive. We are with a chef who has credentials and acclaim that would take all of the segment just to talk about. But I want to, without embarrassing you, all modesty, I want to tell you a little bit about Chef Heinz Beck. Now, he was recently voted the best chef in Italy. He is the founder of the Order of the Knights of Italian Cuisine. He is a 5-star and 6-star Diamond Award winner. He is the owner of the only 3-star Michelin in Olive Room, Chef Heinz Beck, who is in town for an exclusive masterclass. They're getting ready to set up. He's going to do some cooking, but we got him just before that for our City Tonight. Okay, I got to start with a question I like to ask all people, chefs, artists, writers, painters. When did your passion kick in for cooking and cuisine?
Oh, I actually didn't want to become a chef.
You
I
didn't?
wanted to become a painter.
Okay.
You see,
All
I
right.
wanted to do the art school, but my father didn't allow me. He says it's not work; it can be only a hobby.
Yeah.
And so in 1980, I was starting to make a cooking school, and then immediately the passion overcame me, and I was saying, this is the job what I will do the whole life. And slow by slow I grew up, and today I have beautiful restaurants around the world. 5 are star awarded and 5 are not star awarded.
Every time I've been to Italy, it's just an experience from a culinary standpoint. But you also have to deal with the trends, of course, of being more healthy and everything like that. Can you talk a bit about how food has evolved? You want it to be delicious, you want people to enjoy it, but people are more health conscious now. So are you constantly having to find ways to keep the food healthy while also keeping it delicious?
I'm known as the first chef in Italy who started with combining 3-star Michelin cooking with health. In March I became doctor in naturopathy, as it means natural healing.
Naturopathy, yes.
Yeah. And for me, health is very important because I consider that eating is the first way to preserve your health. And today, well, so many new sicknesses very related to the wrong alimentation. It's very important that we do the right communication as well. You see a lot of people hearing every day how important it is to eat in the proper way, but then in the end they are not doing so.
You're an accomplished chef, it goes without saying, but one of the things that I hear from my friends, and I feel it sometimes, we want to cook at home, but it can be sometimes very intimidating. So when you've written many books, I want to mention one of them, of course, The Secret Ingredients. You've got another book coming out soon, yeah?
Yeah.
You do? And so how do you help people that are watching out there right now about making it simplistic? You want it delicious, but if you're cooking at home, you want to make it as non-intimidating as possible.
You see, I say always less is more.
Yeah.
So the real secret in good cooking is to take away, not to add. Of course, it's much more simple to give taste, adding. So more you add, if one thing is not perfect, you will not realize. So yes, less you have ingredients. Every ingredient, every part, every cooking time has to be perfect, because otherwise, in the end, the dish will not be perfect and nice tasting. But the real secret in good cooking is to take away, not to add.
Actually, yes, because when I've been in Italy, the food, and I mean this in a good way, the food is always very simplistic, as you said. You get a healthy portion, but it's not too much. But it's also simplistic. There's just a beauty about that.
Yeah, because the next secret is the ingredients. You know, I'm now coming out with 2 new books and a calendar of health, a book of diabetic too, and then another book who is a narrative book.
We've got a huge amount of people that are coming to see you. What are you going to try to impress upon them today in this master class?
So I will do the Cecco pasta spaghetti 12, the number, and I will cook the pasta in tomato water and seasoned with clams. And afterwards we will have a winter dessert, a dessert done with white truffle. So we make a truffle gelatin, then we make an hazelnut cream on top, then we will put some sablé, chocolate and hazelnut sablé, and powder of nut oil and truffle. And in the end we make an ice cream on the top, who will be done with ricotta.
I'm very hungry all of a sudden. Thank you. I want to thank you for spending some time with us before your class. I know you got a lot of people that are looking forward to seeing you and hearing what you have to say. It's Chef Heinz Beck. Thank you for joining us here on Our City Tonight.
Bye-bye.
We're back downtown Vancouver at the Medical Rejuvenation Clinic. We are joined by Dr. Bob Morell, the founder and owner of the clinic. And we also have together with us today our volunteer, Cassandra Anderton, who is a good media friend of ours. And so thanks for joining us. And Dr. Bob, last time we talked with you, we talked about Botox and some of the basics. So today we're going to sort of go a little bit more in depth, especially with our special guest here.
Okay, thanks, Cassandra, for being our model today. So our goal, you told me ahead of time, was to get rid of those 2 11s there, and that is the goal of Botox. So we're going to take away the stressed look, the angry look, the concerned look, by using Botox to lift your brow. And I've got a couple of pictures I'd like to describe. Our first picture shows a lady with squinted eyes, crow's feet, and with Botox I've opened up her mid-face, showing sort of a more relaxed, nice look at her eyes. We're going to do that here. And her face on gives you a feeling of refreshed, and that is the major goal of what we're going to do. Not only get rid of lines and take away the stress on your face, but to give it a nice, awake, alert, smart focus and look.
I love how you describe too is people judge you by your appearance, even if you aren't angry, tired.
Yeah, right.
People will look at you, and that's what the beauty of this treatment is.
Well, they do, and they reflect, but even worse, you look in the mirror in the morning and you see that person that's angry, concerned, doubting, worried, fatigued, sagging, and, well, that's what I see. And then you reflect that in how you behave.
Very
You walk slower, slouch more.
Road rage.
Road rage. So our goal now is to look at her from the point of view of what's possible to remove these lines. So first of all, frown really hard there, Cassandra. So those are her corrugator muscles pulling down like this. Our major goal is to use Botox here and here, here and here, and we're going to elevate that. Then smile really hard, and she's got these little crow's feet. They're not a big deal, but if you treat that by Botox on the side here, not only can you make it smoother, you can actually lift up the side. So I'm going to proceed and show you the techniques I usually use. So frown hard again, Cassandra. Perfect, and relax. So this muscle, and relax there. So this muscle, then, the head of that muscle is right there, and the tail of that muscle is right there. So Botox there and there. When it releases that pull-down muscle, the pull-up muscles will activate and lift that up. So smile really hard. Good, relax there. So that is your orbicularis oculi, and Botox here and here will lift this at the side. So that becomes a pretty nice look on her face. And so that's our goal. And if I do a couple more behind there, it'll be the back part of that muscle and lift even better. So it's really about lift off. Anytime we can do a mid-face lift, that's how people feel. They feel lifted and refreshed.
And the beauty of it is you're not cutting into people's faces anymore. There is the ability to really have a facial rejuvenation basically without any cutting.
Exactly. Not only can you do this with Botox, like a brow lift, but you can also do total facial changes from the point of view of stress and sagging. And so we're focusing mostly on her 11s today. So I'm just going to do that. And this is a very typical day. I probably do 20 of these a day. So hopefully I'll hit the right spots.
Wow.
Oh, sorry, Cassandra. Okay, and then relax there. So you're going to feel a tiny little pinch here and then here. So very gently. Pinch. 2 units. 1, 2.
Excellent.
Good. Pinch again. 3. Sorry, right there. Pinch. 1, 2, 3. Good. So here, 2. 1, 2.
No flinch.
Here, 2. You're doing great, Cassandra. Awesome. So we finished the whole side there. That took, I know it doesn't look like hard work, but someone's got to do it. Okay.
It's the accuracy that
It's
you're
the
paying for,
accuracy.
right?
Perfect. Okay, now the tail, that's good. She's good there. So then the tail of the corrugator, which is a pull down muscle, I'm going to use 3 units there. 1, 2, 3. And the head of the corrugator, I'm going to use 6 because it's big, maybe even. Yeah, 6 is good. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good. So there, this whole side has been lifted. It doesn't lift right away. It takes 4 days. Botox kicks in and you'll get a lifting that way.
Wonderful. Well, that's excellent. You did really well, and yeah, so you'll obviously be seeing some great results in 4 days, and we definitely would love to see Cassandra again. Yeah. Well, thank you, Dr. Bob. That's so informative. Hopefully the audience there, they can get a hold of you where to ask more questions?
Medical Rejuvenation Center, and we're available. Yeah, just phone.
Great. You got a lot of great experts that can answer any questions.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thanks.
This edition of On the Town is brought to you by Genesis Richmond, a new kind of all-inclusive luxury experience. Well, Lita and I always like to cover brand new restaurants, and we are in one now, and I love this location because it's not far from where we both live in Cole Harbor. It is Bear Restaurant, and we're here with the head chef, Liam, who is going to introduce us to some great dishes here today.
Now, you've decided to do French Mediterranean. That is definitely a big need in this city to have some gourmet on the water, which is awesome. We're so glad to have you back from your travels, London, Dubai. Thanks for coming back to Vancouver.
It's good to be back.
Good. Maybe not when it's raining, but hey. It's a great city. What do we have in front of us?
So here we have our beetroot salad. So this is one of our many vegetarian options. So it's a little bit of a torn beetroot, so it just kind of holds the flavor in a little bit better. It's got a black truffle vinaigrette, a little goat cheese cream, some candied walnuts, and a little bit of a basil oil.
That's a beautiful presentation.
You guys keep talking. I'm going to start eating this.
So, now you've surprised us with 2 of your main features. What do we have?
So here, this is one of our seafood items. Seafood's a specialty of mine.
Oh, good.
Working on the coast of France in Dubai at a seafood restaurant there. So this is a ling cod, so BC fish. It's got a little bit of a vichy soise around it and some buttered leeks. And then a little bit of fresh dill just picked on top. So
my God.
very bright kind of flavors going on,
That
but
is
rich at the same time.
Incredible. I love ling cod, and so glad that you're a specialist in fish. We will be coming here a lot.
Yes, and our last dish here.
So this is our pièce de résistance here. This is our Parmesan crusted veal chop. So it's got a little bit of a caper burn noisette, some roasted garlic. And if you can see on the top, that shine is just a nice little crusted Parmesan on the top there.
Very nice. And a guy who has worked around the world, one thing that Lita and I always like to talk to chefs about is just the complacency that you can never get to that point with your menu. I mean, you've got to be changing up the menu seasonally, obviously, but you're obviously always looking for new things to add and maybe take things out. Can you talk a bit about that?
Well, I'm still kind of learning the terroir of BC right now. I was gone for quite some time, so you know the seasons, the produce here.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to work with. I've been working a lot with some of the farmers, and they just kind of tell me what's coming up, what they have best. Some of the fishermen that we have, they send a fresh sheet every day, and we just kind of go through it. So we're going to be featuring a lot of specials. So we have a catch of the day.
Oh, nice.
We have a cut of the day, which will be our meat, and then we have a vegetarian pasta of the day.
Perfect. Now I know too the environment that we're in. Just you guys have changed everything. You've worked with some very special guys building this restaurant.
Yeah. So the guys Brad at Fusion Projects, they really did an incredible job. I mean, really superseded any expectations that we had at the space.
It's gorgeous.
This is
through and through.
This has been a number of restaurants over the years, but this is the best looking I have seen of this space. So we want to wish you luck. Great bar that we'll see in a few seconds as well. Can you talk a little bit too about the Vancouver food scene? You're back here now, fresh eyes on our city. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of at a plateau when I left, but now I think it's really on an uprising.
Good to hear.
The guys at Saint Laurent's, Annalena,
Yes.
Aspaluigi,
Yeah.
Savio Volpe, Pepinos, they're really kind of driving the food scene up, and I just hope I can be part of that with them.
Oh, I think you already are. We have sampled some of your items a few days ago, I guess, and everything was delicious. So thank you again for coming back.
Yes,
to
thank you for
Vancouver.
coming back to Vancouver, and thank you for this food, which we're going to eat as soon as the camera goes off. We want to thank Liam, and we want to thank Kate McDougall, who set all this up at Cambercom, right? Thank you, Kate. Yes, I've known her 20 years, and I got the name wrong. Anyway, Cambercom Communications, excellent, perfect. Okay, thank you, and come check out Vera. It's located in Cole Harbour, right at the foot of Denman Street, just below Georgia. Liam, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Enjoy.
This edition of On the Town has been brought to you by Genesis Richmond, a new kind of all-inclusive luxury experience.
Closed captioning for this episode of Our City Tonight has been brought to you by Gyrostone Limited, home exteriors that last a lifetime. Well, that does it for the show. We're back here where we started the show at Hubcast Studios.
And we had a great show, but it is time to say goodbye.
That's right. I'm Jim Gordon.
And I'm Lita
We'll
Leapins.
see you on the next edition of Our City Tonight.
Genesis Richmond. Test drive, purchase, maintenance. They come to you.